Hello, my bookworm friends. Kim here, and welcome on back to Bookworm Buzz. Are any of you getting tired of book haul videos yet? I absolutely hope not, because I've got some more haul videos to share with you, and today is another haul video, and in today's video I'm going back to basics. And by going back to basics, I mean going back to my favorite genre, which is thrillers. So I have hauled some recent books that would fall into the thriller genre. Many of you know thrillers are my absolute favorite books to read, and so I'm happy and excited to be sharing these books with you guys today. Now, on that note, as I've mentioned, there are 5 books to discuss in today's video. 2 of them are, I don't even want to say older, because they are only slightly older. I have 2 here that were released in 2023, and then the other 3 are what I would consider recent releases. So I'm going to kick things off, my friends, by sharing with you the 2 2023 novels. Some of you may have heard of these already. Some of you may have read these already. If you have, and as always, don't feel shy to comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of these. You won't put me off, so it's totally fine to be honest. I always love hearing what people think of different novels. So right, like I said, first one, 2023, What Happened to Nina? Now, this is by an author that I haven't heard of before. Her name is Dervla McTiernan. Derva McTiernan. That took me a little bit of time to try and get that right. Now, like I say, this is a book I've been hearing quite a bit about. It did release in 2023. I managed to pick up this secondhand copy at a decent price, or for a decent price, and so I thought, well, why not? So for those of you who may be interested in this book, let me just tell you a little bit of what it's about. So this one says, Nina and Simon are the perfect couple, young, fun, and deeply in love, until they leave for a weekend at his family's cabin in Vermont, and only Simon comes home. What happened to Nina? Nobody knows. Simon's explanation about what happened in their last hours together doesn't add up. Nina's parents push the police for answers, and Simon's parents rush to protect him. They hire expensive lawyers and a PR firm that quickly ramps up a vicious, nothing is off limits media campaign. How far will his family go to keep him safe? Soon, facts are lost in a swirl of accusation and counter-accusation. Everyone chooses a side, and the story goes viral, fueled by armchair investigators and wild conspiracy theories, and illustrated with pretty pictures taken from Nina's social media accounts. Journalists descend on their small Vermont town, followed by a few obsessive fans. Guys, this one sounds like a cracker. How far will her family go to get to the truth? Nina's family is under siege, but they never lose sight of the only thing that really matters, finding their daughter. Outgunned by Simon's wealthy, powerful family, Nina's parents recognize that if playing by the rules won't get them anywhere, it's time to break them. Okay, so back to my favorite, my thrillers. Does this one not sound like an absolute cracker? I think it sounds great. I also think that, although this is a fiction story, this must happen a lot and does happen a lot in real life. Relationships gone wrong, where one partner murders the other one. We have all heard about stories like that. I'm not saying that is where this book goes, because it doesn't say that. It just says they go away and only one of them comes back. So I'm just presuming that it's going to go down some sort of avenue or route like that. But sign me up for this one, you guys. I think it sounds amazing. Okay, my friends, then moving on. This is another novel that was released in 2023. It was, in fact, a debut novel when it was released. This one is called Stone Cold Fox, and it is by Rachel Collecroft. Now, how I ended up picking up this book is because I recently read my very first novel by this author, which was called... Now I have to think of what it was called. I think it was called We Love the Nightlife. I actually did feature it in a monthly wrap-up video very recently. It was the story about 2 vampires. I'm just going to leave it at that. And I absolutely loved that book, and I loved the writing style. And I did then note that the author had published one previous novel, which is this one. And so I thought, yep, I'm going to pick this one up and give it a go and see what I think, based on the fact that I really enjoyed We Love the Nightlife. Anyway, my friends, this one is not a vampire story. This one is a thriller story, and this is what it says. A perfectly wicked debut thriller about an ambitious woman who, after a lifetime of conning alongside her mother, wants to leave her dark past behind and marry the heir to one of the country's wealthiest families. So, sounds pretty interesting. I'm gripped. Like any enterprising woman, Bee knows what she's worth and is determined to get all she deserves. It just so happens that what she deserves is to marry rich, filthy rich. Wouldn't we all like that? But anyway, after years of forced instruction by her mother in the art of swindling men, a now solo Bee wants nothing more than to close and lock the door on that sordid partnership so she can disappear safely into old money domesticity, sealing the final phase of her escape. When Bee chooses her ultimate target in the fully loaded, thoughtfully dull and blue-blooded Colin Case, she's ready to deploy all of her tricks one last time. The challenge isn't getting the ring, but rather the approval of Colin's family and everyone else in their 1% tax bracket, particularly his childhood best friend, Gail Wallace Lannister. So obviously some high flyers and highfalutin families in this story. Anyway, going toe-to-toe with Gail isn't a threat to an expert like Bee, but what begins as an amusing cat-and-mouse game quickly develops into a dangerous pursuit of the grisly truth. Finding herself at a literal life and death crossroads with everything on the line, Bee must finally decide who she really wants to be. Like mother, like daughter. So this one, I must say, as far as thrillers go, it does sound a little bit different and I am intrigued. I do enjoy this author's writing style, and so this one being her debut, I'm pretty excited to read this one. I can't say that I've heard a ton about it, but you know, like I say, I have read a recent novel from her that I really enjoyed, and so why not try her debut novel? So this one I will hopefully be getting to sometime soon because I am very intrigued. Right, and then next up we have a very recent release. This book was released in 2025 and by an author that many of you will know. If you are a thriller reader, you probably would have read something or by this author or heard of her books. This is Gillian McAllister, and this is her latest novel titled Famous Last Words. Now, if I just read to you what it says here on the front. One morning he's your husband. By nightfall he's a criminal. And these are his famous last words. So this is another one, my friends, that sounds very exciting, very intriguing, a little bit different. So another thriller that I'm excited about. So this one reads as follows. It is June 21st, the longest day of the year. A new mother, Camilla's life is about to change forever. After months of maternity leave, she will drop her infant daughter off at daycare for the first time and return to her job as a literary agent. Finally. But when she wakes, her husband Luke isn't there, and in his place is a cryptic note. Then it starts. Breaking news. There's a hostage situation developing in London. The police arrive and tell her Luke is involved. But he isn't a hostage. Her husband, doting father, eternal optimist, is the gunman. What she does next is crucial because only she knows what the note he left behind that morning says. Famous Last Words is the story of a crime, a marriage, and more secrets than Camilla ever could have imagined. So does that one not sound very unique? If you are a regular thriller reader like me, then I'm sure you will agree that this one definitely has a unique premise. I mean, the whole plot of having hostages or holding hostages and all of that is probably not very new to thrillers, but I do think this one sounds pretty interesting because of the note left on Luke's pillow in the morning, his wife having to unravel what that note means in light of the fact that he is now involved in a hostage situation as the gunman. Yeah, count me in for this one. This one sounds right up my alley. And then I'm going to be moving on to talking to you guys about this one, which is also a recent release. It was also published now in 2025. It's called A Killing Cold, and it's by Kate Alice Marshall. Now, this author also wrote, it was a book I've read recently, What Lies in the Woods. Now, people went absolutely crazy for What Lies in the Woods. Or should I say, it gets very good ratings on Goodreads. I read it, and I think I was lukewarm on it, if I remember correctly. I haven't actually gone and checked my Goodreads, but if I can remember correctly, I didn't absolutely love it as much as other people did, but it was still a fairly good read, and so I decided to pick up this one to give this author another chance. So basically, my friends, we have a story that reads as follows. A whirlwind romance. When Theodora Scott met Connor, wealthy, charming, and a member of the powerful Dalton family, she fell in love in an instant. 6 months later, he's brought her to Idlewood, his family's isolated winter retreat, to win over his skeptical relatives. Stay away from Connor Dalton. Theo has tried to ignore the threatening messages on her phone, but she can't ignore the footprints in the snow outside the cabin window or the strange sense of familiarity she has about this place. Then, in a disused cabin, Theo finds something impossible, a photo of herself as a child, a photo taken at Idlewood. So, I mean, that sounds very intriguing. Theo has almost no recollection of her earliest years, but now she begins to piece together the fragments of her memory and realizes she is in terrible danger. Someone here has a shocking secret that they will do anything to keep hidden, and discovering what happened at Idlewood may cost Theo everything. Okay, so we have an isolated setting, or we have some sort of mystery going back to one of the main characters' childhoods. And yes, overall, I just think this one sounds really, really good. And like I mentioned already, I'm happy to try this author again. I think, obviously, if I'm mediocre about this one as well, then I will probably give up on this author. But for now, I'm willing to give this one a shot. And then last up, we have another recent release, although this one was released sometime toward the end of 2024. It's not a 2025 release, but I mean, 2024 is still very recent. I love this cover, you guys. Isn't this cover just so striking? I mean, it's fairly basic in a way, but it's also just so striking, and it really does go with the title of this novel. So this is The Business Trip, and the author is Jessie Garcia. Now, I am not sure if this is a debut novel. I think it might be, because I've had a look in the first few pages of this book, and it doesn't list any other previous novels by this author. So if you happen to know, please leave a comment down in the comment section just to let me know. Like I say, this one may be a debut, it may not, I'm not sure, but wow, the cover, the cover. That makes me think I actually need to do a video, I think, on reading books based on their cover, because tell me if you are an avid reader that you haven't done that at least more than once, where you've picked up a book just because you've loved the cover. But anyway, more about this one. I didn't just pick this one up because I love the cover, which I clearly do, but I did pick this one up because I had read the blurb and I'd heard one or two people talking about it, and I thought, like, it sounded like a good thriller. Me and my thrillers, I tend to pick up everything and anything that's new in that genre. So, my friends, for the last book in today's video, let me read to you the blurb. It was their chance to get away, not go away forever. Stephanie and Jasmine have nothing and everything in common. The two women don't know each other, but have boarded the same plane. Stephanie is on a business trip, and Jasmine is fleeing an abusive relationship. After a few days, they text their friends the same exact messages about the same man. Soon, the messages become stranger and more erratic. And then the two women vanish. The texts go silent. Red flags go up and panic sets in. When Stephanie and Jasmine are each declared missing and in danger, it begs the question, who is Trent McCarthy? What did he do to these women, or what did they do to him? Twist upon twist, layer upon layer, nothing is as it seems. The business trip takes you on a descent into the depths of a mastermind manipulator. But who is playing whom? Okay, talk about manipulators and mind games, and then you can just sign me up. So no wonder when I read about this book for the first time, I decided to add it to my TBR. And like I say, I managed to pick it up recently. And I think it sounds very intriguing, very fun, very interesting. I can't wait to find out what happened to these two women. Why are they missing? And who is this Trent person? And how does he fit in exactly? So yes, another thriller that sounds right up my alley and that I can't wait to get to. Okay, my friends, on that note, I think I'm going to love and leave you. Those are the 5 books that I wanted to share with you today. I tend to only focus on 5 books when I do my haul videos. I just find it makes these videos a nice length without going too long and too detailed and yeah, hopefully not boring you to death. So, you know, these haul videos are a good way for me to obviously share with you guys the books that I've bought, but obviously also to read the blurbs to you so that you can see if you would be interested in any of these. I think you've also noticed with me that I am someone who loves to read recent releases. I will now and then, and you have seen in some of my haul videos, I will read an earlier release if it's something that really sounds intriguing or it's been getting a lot of rave reviews. But in general, I do tend to pick up a lot of books that I would consider to be latest releases, so released in 2024 or now in 2025. And so it's always great to share them with you because they will be available on Amazon to read on Kindle, and they will be available in your local bookstores and so on. So if they do appeal to you, you're able to pick them up. Okay, bookworms, I think that's all I have to say today. So on that note, let me wish you happy reading. Bye.